Welcome back, guys. Sorry that it took so long. I was actually planning on making this video way ahead, but something came in between, and that what came in between was that this abyss was very difficult for me, and I didn't really wanted to read what these bosses do, so I had to suffer through a lot. So here I am making this video for you guys, so you don't have to do the same mistakes. So actually this abyss actually has buffs. For the first half there's pyro damage buff for normal attack damage, and for the second half you get night soul aligned damage, which doesn't really matter a lot if you don't use any Nettling characters, but it's very recommended to use them on the second half. So this is why I use Arlecchino on the first half. You can use Hutao or you can use Yoimiya for the first half. And Melt and Vape teams are going to do very well do this, especially Melt, which we're going to see on the second chamber. But yeah, for this chamber you just want to use your higher damage character most of the times. I have a run where I use Neuvillette on this half, which does pretty well, so it clears the first chamber very easily, but you will struggle in the second chamber a lot because the second boss is going to have a lot of hydro resistance, and if you want to, I can upload my run on it, where I actually managed to clear decently fast time, but not everyone has the same investment as I did on my run. So anyway, this is pretty easy. Make sure you apply pyro to those fruits whenever they are about to spawn. Around the 9-minute marks usually when I use Arlecchino, this boss is going to do either the spinning attack or he's going to jump into the air, land on the ground and deal a lot of damage, which is why I use strongly on this side, but you don't have to. You can use other characters, Phil is just very confident. So now that we cleared the first half, we're going to look at the second half, and this is a half that first of all, once again, introduces those two souls, which aren't the problem, so this team can be very easy with them. Those aren't the damage team, just make sure you don't waste too much resources or time on them. But the Wayward Fanatic Spirit Seeker is pretty annoying. So, if you want to deal with those, like, soul things, you have to either use elements like Cryo, Pyro, Geo is fine, Anemo is also pretty fine, but like Hydro and Dendro are not going to cover. And in this run, actually, I managed to, I think, die with Ulveron. Yep. This is pretty sad, so let's speed it up a bit. So I thought about doing the rotation here. I think I'm going to start with Arlecchino's skill first. As always, going to swap into Yolan's first skill and fodder the energy into Bennett, because I'm using the Pavonius Bow. And yeah, this is very simple. A fun fact actually is, I mentioned this in an earlier video of mine, I think it was what it was, 5.1 Abyss run or something, that you don't even need Pyro essentially to clear this half, or to clear this boss. Because if you have a character like Kazuha, like a new character, and throw Pyro onto the flutes, those will also trigger the mechanic. And here you can see when he jumps into the air. So I'm going to clear this pretty fast. I have full energy on all my relevant members. And once again, I'm here with Neuvillette, trying to figure out the whole rotation. I'm going to start with this first skill, then I'm going to swirl it, swap into Orion to Electrocharge and get his Night Soul energy. Oh, this is very important. So, as a Knight of the, like the Night Master, then, I don't know, I forgot the name of it. With his charge attacks, Ulveron can actually stun those enemies. As you can see, they can't move and they can't attack you, and you can actually use this. So Ulveron can use Superconduct onto those enemies without dying. So I don't even use a shielder, as you can see. And it's working pretty well. Because the boss after this is going to be in a state for a pretty long time. He's not going, or she is not going to turn into those phantoms of ice. So just make sure you get your rotation. You don't essentially have to use Neuvillette here. I just use him because he's the character that deals the most damage in a short time frame. But as you can see, I have a lot of time left. You can also use Raiden, for example, which I used in the previous run against this boss, which I don't have recorded right now.
Bow your head.
But it's possible. But the problem will be on the second chamber.
Time to go.
Are going to see. Which is why I use those horror rolls. So, yeah, let's get to it. The second boss, as well, of the second chamber, first half, is the Swanee, which has an insane amount of hyper resistance. But before that, there are all those little versions. That's one with champion there. They are very tanky and sturdy and actually deal a lot of damage if you don't pay attention, which is why I brought John D actually first place. So the solitary Swanee has a lot of hard resistance. There's going to be a phase where he's not going to take a lot of damage, except if you freeze her. So this is why I say you can use a cryo character instead of only. For example, Layla, who will also do the Shield roll. Or for example Charlotte, who can use the Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayer to boost Arlecchino's damage. And as you can see here, she's going to turn into her Hydra form, and even though you could potentially vape every bit, I would use it on Arlecchino because you are going to use her Bond of Life. So instead, just hold on a bit, and then you can actually do a lot. Here, make sure you hit those balls, and I think this run I made a huge mistake that I didn't hit the last ball, which I think causes me the death of Arlecchino. Oh well, not the death exactly, but it took me quite a bit longer, more than I actually wanted, so I could do this in a very clean amount of time, and that's fine. You don't always have to get 3 stars each chamber. But I had to reset like anyway because I think I made a big fail here, and the fail was maybe dying with so I had to restart anyway. Okay, like here. Just make sure you're going to start from the left side. It's especially useful if you use like an overloaded team. Generally, you don't want to have them all split up, so you want to attack them from one side. Because Bandit's burst and the Lance burst, generally burst, are going to push your enemies a little bit. And if you do that from the middle, they're going to split. So you want to do it from one side, so you group them up together.
Everybody stand back!
Once again, I'm going to group them up. Set up my skills now. I tried to make sure I stand in Bandit first, but that I didn't. This would have probably made my run like 4-5 seconds faster.
Quietly now.
But just once again, wait for her Hydro phase, then don't attack her. Instead, just try to set up your skills, get energy like here I did for Bandit. Set up your Lance skill, set your Lance first, and now she's done. I'm going to stop this round. And once again, also here, this time I make sure to pay attention and hit those balls first, stun her, and now she's going to be busted down very easy. And as you can see, it took me like, yeah, it took me like 5 seconds. Yeah, once again, those bosses, those meme Thoras or whatever they are called, are very dangerous because they actually do a lot of damage if you don't pay attention. And the biggest problem is their shield. And unless you're using a reaction-based team like Hyper Bloom or Aggravate, Electrocharged as well, those shields are going to get are very hard to get destroyed, except you're using Night Soul characters. And since I'm using Auroron, in combination with Electrocharge as well, I'm going to break those shields fairly easily.
The tides beckon.
As you can see, it's pretty fast here.
Silence!
And of course, that's going to do a lot of damage. If you're wondering about the builds, I'm going to show them later.
Let my name
Tell you a
echo
bit about
inside.
them.
Settle down!
And if you're interested, I could make a account review video, but I don't think anyone is. So, for the final chamber, I think this one was the easiest if you know what you're doing. So, this is why I think Arlecchino is so good on this chamber, but Yoimiya also looks pretty promising. Because of the way you're not going to use characters with burst reliant, or rather skill
Things are about
reliant.
to get dicey.
One of them would be Arlecchino with a bond of life mechanic. But if you know Yoimiya, she also uses her skill and basic attacks instead of her. But yeah, this is pretty easy. And yeah, the second is just
Quietly now.
pure damage test, damage ceiling. But
Solidify!
this is definitely the easiest side. And
Lay to go. Let's light it up, everybody.
And since it's
Here comes the
the last and final chamber, you can use all your energy on this, but you don't have to worry about having enough energy for the next one, because there's no one. And this also is, in my opinion, this was pretty easy, because if you have to clear the second chamber,
With wind and
you
cloud.
also have to place another one of those mechanics where you're going to do a lot of reactions, as well as macro mechanics.
Settle down!
And if you're free to play and don't pull for any metal characters, or you don't have Ororon, Sidlali, Casca, whatever,
You're free now.
you can use Kachina or use the Pirate Traveler now after you finish the Natling quest. I think the Pirate Traveler is actually pretty strong
The tides beckon.
and can be definitely used on this, but you have
An
to
oversight on my part.
look out for what teams you're going to use. And if you don't use any Knights of characters, you can do this pretty easily using a Hyper Bloom or Activate team. If you don't know, just watch my previous Abyss video. I have this for the same house with a different team. Okay, so now to the build. This was a bit scuffed, I think, yeah. So first of all, let's look at Neuvillette. He is using the Widsith on R5 and the 4-piece Marechaussee Hunter. He's built pretty well. He was former top 1%, but right now that just does not seem to be the case. But you can see that he was C1. That's my Farina. She is not anything, but I am actually trying to get my Farina to top 1%. And at this point where I'm shooting this video, this was actually the case. I think I'm going
Osmanthus
to make
wine tastes the
little short
same as
about it. Zhongli is just built as a shield bot. I'm not even using 2-piece HP here. Just gladiators. And Kazuha is built very well using his signature weapon and full triple crown. But this was the first team, and the more important team I'd say was the first team. And no, not Shangling, actually I used Bennett,
Ow! Where did that
who
come
is
from?
not built that well, to be honest. Like, he's not even using a very high base attack weapon. I'm just using the Sword of Narcissenkreuz for some bosses, but I didn't even have the right alignment. Just put some noblesse on him, level his skill, and he's not C6. And even if I had C6, I'm not playing on C6 that early. Ororon is also built not that greatly. He's just having like the 4-piece scroll of Hero of Cinder, and I maxed out a lot of ER on him so he can burst, because he was the only electro damage character here, this team. And make sure to have a little bit of crit on him, since he's using the Favonius bow. Instead you can also use the sacrificial bow, I think, but then you don't have to use or build crit rate, frankly. Arlecchino is also built pretty decently. I'm using the Gladiator of Finale set, and I'm using the Primordial Jadewing Spear, so it's a very decent build. And yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching.
Water comes.